Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the 4th of July, written by Audre Lorde. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, in this work by Audre Lorde, we're looking at the time of racism in America. Audre Lorde's parents are coming from the Caribbean. Her mother is light skinned. She's kind of more of a whitish complexion, and her father is darker, like a black man, basically. And basically, this family, they're living in Harlem, and they plan to go to Washington D.C. Kind of like to see Washington D.C. is very famous, especially when you live in the United States and you reside in the United States. And so this family, they're living in the time of racism. They are, they're living the best life that they can. And the problem is that the mother and father, they know about racism. They know how hard it is for black people to live in America during the age of racism, when pretty much black people didn't have any rights. And there's nothing that they could do in the country, except for fight for their rights, protest, and Martin Luther King. We didn't, black people didn't have civil rights yet, and so it was tough to live in America during that time, especially when you can't go into restaurants, you can't go into businesses. It's very limited what kind of job you can have, what you can do with your life, and pretty much everything is pretty much against you in America. And Audre Lorde's parents, what they do basically in this work, what we learn is that they're trying to protect their children from the world, from America, from racism, and the way that they chose to protect their children was by not telling them about racism, by not naming it. Audre Lorde even says within the essay that her parents didn't give a name to racism. Now today in the 21st century, in 2020, a lot of black parents, they tell their children, they have pretty much a talk with their parents about, the parents have a talk with their children about what it can be, or what it can mean to live in America while being black, and how certain things can be against you. And even though you might work hard for something, you might not get it because of your race. And so Audre Lorde's parents, before the 21st century, before the age of racism was, I guess, diminished, they just chose not to give a name to racism. And so they thought that would help their children live in America better, or exist in America better, but it actually didn't help them. The reason why, it's because Audre Lorde and her sisters and her siblings, they found it harder to understand the world that they lived in, because now they were being denied service at restaurants, they were being denied hotels, they were being denied access to establishments. They went to a school where at most of the time, they were the only black children in the classroom. And so there were things that the white kids could do that they couldn't do. There were field trips that the white kids would go on that they couldn't go on. And so they were always left behind, and their parents weren't telling them about racism. So they were confused, they were frustrated with life in America. And it's something that it's extremely hard to go through as an adult, but it's even worse for a kid that doesn't know why the world, or why American society hates them. And because of the fact that their parents weren't telling them, you could imagine how hard it is for people to hate you, and you don't even know that's because of the color of your skin that they hate you. And so Audre Lorde had a lot to figure out about her upbringing, about her life, about her existence, because her mother could pass for being Spanish, so her mother was significantly lighter than her. That caused some problems, because that the country hates you because you're black, because you're of a darker, your skin is darker, but your mom is lighter, and it's frustrating. It's something that's hard to deal with, and what eventually happens, they go to Washington D.C. with all these problems, with this world that's around them, and Audre Lorde is witnessing racism firsthand. She witnessed it a little bit in Harlem, but the thing is, like, when you go to Washington D.C., where it's at the time when this was being written, where when she was a child, racism was very prevalent in Washington, D.C. You're in the Capitol. There's a lot of white people. There's a lot of things going around. They're looking at, national treasures, national monuments. But the thing is, like, it's kind of like not for them. The title of this work is 4th of July. And when you're walking in Washington, D.C., you're seeing all these monuments to freedom, or all these tributes to freedom and justice, and rights, and being free and brave. But the thing is, like, Audre Lorde, it doesn't pertain to her and her family, because they're not accepted in America. They're not free. They don't have rights. They don't have civil rights. It's pretty much, they don't even have human rights. And so it's kind of like they're walking in Washington, D.C., they're witnessing the nation's capital, but it's not for them. They're not a part of it. They're not represented. So it kind of feels like they're witnessing a tribute, a monument to fake freedom, because they're not a part of it. It's not for them. Yes, the country has freedom. Yes, I guess the white people in the country have rights and human rights and freedom, but they don't. And so the tribute is not for them. The monuments and tributes, they're just not for them. And when they go into restaurants, they go into hotels, they go into different places to eat, to have fun just like everybody else, they're told that there's no service for them. They don't serve Negroes there, and so that they have to go somewhere else. And Audre Lorde is very frustrated. And this essay kind of ends with, I couldn't have ice cream. I couldn't go into white establishments, white hotels. I couldn't have white ice cream. I couldn't have white this and that. I couldn't have white this and that, or this was white. This was not for me. I'm black. I can't do this. I can't do that. So it's this frustrating experience. It makes you mad. It makes you like you didn't do anything wrong. You were born a certain way. There's nothing you can do to change the way you were born or your skin color. People hate you for it. You can't get service for it. There's nothing you can do about it. And this child has to experience this. This is not an adult. This is a child experiencing this. And it wasn't fun. In terms of analysis, in terms of a deeper meaning within this essay, it's really interesting to see what's going on in America during the time that this essay was being written through the eyes of a child, because we've seen it through the eyes of adults. A lot of adults write what they went through during slavery, during the era of civil rights. But when you look at through the eyes of children, you look at through the eyes of innocence, and how difficult it is, because your parents are trying to protect you. On one hand, they're not explaining the world to you. The world hates you. You don't know why things are happening to you. It's frustrating, and there's no explanation for it. If you're an adult and you know why you can't go into certain establishments and why you can't have certain jobs, it's because of your skin color, right? And during this time, if all these things are being denied to you, you're not okay with it, but you understand that it's because of your skin color. But through the eyes of a child, they might just think that it's not because of their skin color, that they just hate them. So Audre Lorde, this is my own perspective and my own twist on the matter, is that she doesn't know that it's because of her skin color. She pieces it together a little bit, but the thing is, like, when your parents are not telling you, or people in your community, in the black community, not telling you this, you might start to think maybe they just hate you as a person. They just hate you as an individual, which is not the case. It's just your skin color. It's not your character. It's not your merit. It's not what you do as an individual. It's just you weren't accepted because of your skin color. Period. That was the case. So a very interesting essay. It says a lot about the time before civil rights, especially as a child. In a very interesting read. So title again, 4th of July, Independence Day. We're free, but for black people, within the context of this essay, within what's going on within this essay, there was no independence, there was no freedom. It was just that, a time that's, you're looking at freedom, but you're just not part of it. So that's my summary analysis of this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment, and I'll see you guys in my next video.